interested. Please stop coming to my shop.
James Richardson had everything except the one thing that mattered. At 42, he owned half of Manhattan. His company built apps that ran on millions of phones. But none of his success could give him what he needed, the taste of home. 3 years ago, his wife Sarah died in a car accident. A truck ran a red light. Rain on the road, wrong place, wrong time. The grief nearly destroyed him. For months, he couldn't work or sleep. He just sat in their apartment, staring at her things. Slowly, he learned to function again. He went back to work. He bought a new apartment. He did all the things people said would help him move on. But he never really moved on. What haunted him most were the small things. The way Sarah hummed while cooking breakfast on Sundays, the exact taste of her chicken soup when he was sick. The smell of her cinnamon rolls filling their home. Sarah loved to cook. She was a teacher, but cooking was her way of showing love. When James had a bad day, she'd make his favorite meal. When they fought, she'd bake cookies as a peace offering. After she died, food became James's enemy. Everything tasted like nothing. He'd order from expensive restaurants and throw most of it away. Then he got a desperate idea. He started hiring famous chefs to recreate Sarah's recipes. He gave them her old recipe cards with notes like, "Dad's favorite." He even found videos of her cooking on his phone. A chef from France tried for 2 weeks to copy her beef stew. It looked perfect, smelled right. But when James tasted it, he wanted to cry. It wasn't the same. A chef from Japan worked on her meatloaf. Wrong. A chef from Italy tried her lasagna. Close, but still wrong. James spent thousands of dollars. Nothing worked. Every meal reminded him that Sarah was gone, that some things can't be replaced or bought. After a year, he gave up. Food became just fuel, something to keep his body working while his heart stayed broken. He made money and closed deals, but inside, he was starving for home. 7 miles across the city, Maya Santos was fighting her own battle with grief. She was 28 and working 18-hour days at a food cart she could barely afford. Her back hurt, her hands had permanent burns, her feet ached constantly. But she kept cooking because it was the only thing that made her feel close to her mother. Maria Santos had died 2 years ago from a heart attack at 53. One day, she was laughing and cooking Sunday dinner. The next day, she collapsed at work and never woke up. Maria had worked as a housekeeper for rich families. She cleaned houses, did laundry, organized lives. The pay wasn't great, but she raised Maya alone after Maya's father left. They never had much money, but they had each other. They had Maria's cooking. Maria could make anything taste good. She'd learned from her own mother in Puerto Rico, who learned from her mother. Generation after generation passing down not just recipes, but how to put your heart into food, how food could be medicine, comfort, love. Maya had been in college studying restaurant management when her mother died. She had dreams of opening her own place. But when Maria died, everything fell apart. There was no money for the funeral or medical bills, no money to finish school. Maya dropped out. She worked 3 jobs but couldn't pay the debts. Then one night, cleaning out her mother's apartment, she found something, a notebook. Old, stained, held together with rubber bands, her mother's recipe book. Maya sat on the floor and cried looking through it. Every page was in her mother's handwriting, in Spanish, with little notes and changes. There were grease stains and watermarks, evidence of years of use, of love. That night, Maya made a decision. She used her last savings to buy a used food cart. She found a spot on a busy corner. She got permits, bought ingredients, and started cooking her mother's recipes. At first, business was slow, but slowly, people noticed something different about Maya's food. It wasn't just delicious. It was comforting in a way that reached deeper than hunger. People would take a bite and get quiet. They'd say things like, "This reminds me of my grandmother," or "This tastes like home." Word spread. The line at her cart got longer. Food bloggers wrote about her, but Maya was still barely surviving. The cart needed constant repairs. She worked from 6 in the morning until 9 at night, 6 days a week, and still struggled. Some days she wondered if she'd made a mistake. But then someone would taste her food and smile, really smile, and Maya would remember why she did this. She cooked because it made her feel whole, because her mother lived on in every plate she served. James had a rule. He never walked anywhere. Too slow, too many people. He had a driver who took him everywhere in a black car. But on this particular Tuesday, His driver called in sick. James surprised himself by deciding to walk to his meeting. Maybe he needed fresh air. He took a route through a neighborhood he didn't usually visit. Older buildings, small businesses, food carts instead of fancy restaurants. He was thinking about his meeting when something stopped him. A smell. It hit him like a physical force. Garlic, peppers, roasted meat, spices he couldn't name. Something sweet underneath. But it wasn't just the ingredients. It was the feeling of someone cooking with care, with patience, with love. James stood frozen on the sidewalk. This smell reminded him of home. Not Sarah's specific recipes. This was different food. But the feeling was the same. He turned his head, following the smell. Half a block away, he saw a food cart with a faded blue awning. A hand-painted sign, Maya's Kitchen. He started walking toward it, knowing he'd be late for his meeting. He didn't care. Something was pulling him forward. When he reached the cart, he saw her. A young woman with dark hair and a ponytail, wearing a stained apron. She moved with quick efficiency, but also grace. She smiled at each customer like they mattered. James got in line. A man in a $1,000 suit behind construction workers and delivery people. He looked completely out of place. When he reached the front, she looked up. Her eyes registered his expensive clothes, then gave him the same warm smile. "Hi, what can I get you?" James realized he didn't know what to order. "What's good?" She laughed. "Everything. But if it's your first time, try the chicken stew with rice and beans. That's what my mom would have recommended." The way she said "my mom" did something to James, made his throat tight. "Okay, I'll have that." He paid and found a bench nearby. For a moment, he just held the container. His hands were shaking. He negotiated billion-dollar deals without breaking a sweat, but this simple food had him nervous. He took a bite. The world stopped. It wasn't Sarah's cooking. The flavors were completely different, but the feeling was exactly the same. Someone had made this food with care, with love. Someone had cooked this the way Sarah used to cook, not to show off, just to nourish and comfort. For the first time in 3 years, food tasted like home. James felt his eyes burn. He ate slowly, savoring every bite. When he finished, he sat there for a long time, staring at the empty container. Then he stood up and walked back to the cart. He got in line again. When he reached the front the second time, Maya looked surprised. "Back already? Was something wrong?" "No, everything was perfect. James struggled for words. "Your food. It's the first thing that's tasted like home to me in 3 years." Maya's expression softened. "Thank you, that means a lot. My wife died 3 years ago." The words came out before he could stop them. "She used to cook. I've been trying to find that feeling again. I've hired chefs from around the world. Nothing's worked. But your food, it's the closest I've come." Behind him, someone complained about the wait. James ignored them. He was looking at Maya, and something in her eyes had changed. "I'm sorry about your wife," she said quietly. "I lost my mom 2 years ago. I know about that kind of missing." "Is that why you cook?" Maya nodded. "These are all her recipes. I feel like she's still with me when I'm cooking." They looked at each other across the counter. Two people from completely different worlds, but in that moment, they were just two people who understood grief. "Can I come back tomorrow?" James asked. Maya smiled warmly. "I'm here every day, except Sunday. Then I'll see you tomorrow." James came back the next day, and the day after that. It became his ritual. Every day at noon, he'd walk to Maya's cart, wait in line, order lunch, and eat on the bench. His assistant thought he was crazy. His business partners were confused. James had always been all about efficiency. Now he disappeared for an hour every day. After the first week, Maya started recognizing him. She'd smile when she saw him in line. After 2 weeks, they started talking. Small talk at first, then deeper conversations. Maya told him about her mother, about the recipes passed down through generations, about how cooking made her feel less lonely. James told her about Sarah, about their life together, about how her death left him hollow, about how he tried everything to find comfort until he found Maya's food. After a month, James wasn't sure if he came for the food anymore or for the conversations. Maya made him laugh. She reminded him that the world was bigger than boardrooms and stock prices, and Maya found herself looking forward to seeing James. He listened to her, really listened. He asked about her dreams, her struggles. He treated her like she mattered. One day, about 6 weeks after they met, James took a risk. Would you want to have dinner with me sometime? Not here. A real dinner at a restaurant. Maya froze. Are you asking me on a date? Yes. I know we're very different, but I enjoy talking to you. I'd like to know you better. Maya bit her lip. James, look at us. You're in a suit that probably costs more than I make in a month. We're from completely different worlds. I'm not asking people from my world, James said quietly. I'm asking you. Maya thought about it. I don't know. I need to think. Okay. James didn't push, but before he walked away, he turned back. For what it's worth, I don't care about different worlds. The only thing that matters is how I feel around you, and I feel more like myself than I have in 3 years. That night, Maya lay in her tiny apartment thinking. She worked constantly and barely survived. She told herself she didn't need romance, but if someone came along who made her feel alive, shouldn't she give it a chance? The next day, she said yes. Their first date was perfect. They talked for hours about life and loss and dreams. James told her about growing up poor, building his business from nothing. Maya told her about her dreams of opening a real restaurant someday. They stayed at the restaurant until it closed. Then they walked through the neighborhood, talking more. When they finally stopped, neither wanted the night to end. Can I see you again? James asked. Yes, Maya said without hesitation. Tomorrow? She laughed. You don't waste time, do you? I've wasted 3 years, James said seriously. I don't want to waste any more. They looked at each other in the streetlight glow. Then James leaned in slowly. Their first kiss was gentle and sweet and tasted like hope. They started really dating. James took Maya to museums and nice restaurants. Maya took James to street fairs and places in the city he'd never known existed. James's friends were shocked. Everyone had the same question. What was he doing with a food cart vendor? James didn't care. For the first time since Sarah died, he was happy. Maya made him laugh, challenged him, saw him as a person. Maya's friends worried too. They'd seen too many stories of rich men who dated poor girls and disappeared when bored. But Maya knew James was different. He respected her, valued her opinions, never made her feel small. Still, the differences caused problems. James wanted to help with her struggling business. He offered to buy better equipment, pay off debts. Maya refused every time. I need to do this myself, she said. If you help, then it's not mine anymore. It's yours. James didn't fully understand, but he respected her pride. There were other problems, too. James's life required fancy events. Maya went to a few but hated them. Everyone looked at her with judgment. After one uncomfortable gala, she told James she couldn't do it anymore. I don't fit in your world, she said. Everyone looks at me like I don't belong. They had their first real fight. James said other people's opinions didn't matter. Maya said they did matter because those people were part of his life. They didn't talk for 3 days. Both were miserable. On the 4th day, James showed up at her cart early. I'm sorry, he said. You were right. I wasn't listening to how hard this is for you. I'm sorry too, Maya said. I was scared that your world would never accept me. They decided to start over. Take things slower, be more honest. They found their balance. Everything was going well. Then Maya's world fell apart. She got a notice that her food cart permit was being revoked. A nearby restaurant owner with money and lawyers didn't like the competition. She had 30 days to shut down. Maya was devastated. The cart wasn't just income, it was her connection to her mother. Losing it felt like losing her mother again. She didn't tell James at first. She was embarrassed, ashamed, but James noticed something was wrong. What's going on? He finally asked. She told him everything. James said, Let me help. I have lawyers. No, Maya said. I can't let you do that. Why not? Because my whole life, my mother worked for rich people. She was dependent on their money, their approval. She had no power. I promised myself I'd never be like that. James understood then. This was about dignity, identity. Okay, I won't interfere. But he also said something important. Maya, losing your cart doesn't make you like your mother. Your mother was strong and brave. There's no shame in accepting help from someone who loves you. Maya's eyes went wide. Did you just say love? James realized what he'd said. Yes, I love you. I love you too, Maya whispered, but love didn't solve the problem. With 2 weeks left, Maya decided to fight. She couldn't afford lawyers, but she could tell her story. She talked to the local newspaper. The story went viral. Local news came. They filmed segments at her cart showing loyal customers. One old man cried on camera about how her soup reminded him of his dead wife. The story spread. People got angry, protests started, a petition was started, local politicians got involved. Then a famous chef saw the news and came to try Maya's food. She was blown away and posted about it to millions of followers. "This is the most soulful food I've tasted in years." Suddenly, Maya's cart was famous. Lines got longer. Food critics wrote glowing reviews. The pressure became overwhelming. The restaurant owner withdrew his complaint. Public opinion had turned against him. Maya's permit was safe, but something had changed. The fame and pressure were too much. Her tiny cart couldn't handle this demand. That's when James came with a proposal. "What if you opened a real restaurant? Small and intimate. I could help with the initial investment, but you'd own it. Fully. Your name, your vision, your control." Maya thought for days. Finally, she said yes. It took 6 months to find the right place. A small corner building that used to be a family restaurant. It needed work, but it felt right. James helped with the business plan and initial investment. But Maya made every decision about the restaurant itself. She kept it small, only 20 tables. She wanted to know every customer's face. She named it Maria's Table after her mother. The menu was small, just a few dishes, each one perfect, each from her mother's recipe book. The prices were fair. Maya wanted regular people from the neighborhood to afford it. The restaurant opened on a Saturday. Maya was terrified, but the line started forming an hour early. All her regulars from the cart came. Neighbors, reporters, even the famous chef who'd promoted her. The first night was chaos. Orders got mixed up, wait times were too long. But when Maya came out of the kitchen at closing, everyone stood and applauded. They told her the food was even better than at the cart. An old woman came up with tears. "Your mother would be so proud. I knew her. We worked together cleaning houses. She talked about you all the time, about how you do big things. And look at you now." Maya cried. This was everything she'd wanted, honoring her mother, making people happy, doing something that mattered. James found her after everyone left. She sat alone at a table, exhausted and happy. "You did it," he said. "We did it," Maya corrected. James took her hand and got down on one knee. "James?" "Maya, you've taught me how to live again. You've shown me that money means nothing without someone to share it with. You've reminded me what home tastes like. Will you marry me?" Maya couldn't speak. She just nodded, tears streaming. James slipped a ring on her finger and kissed her in the restaurant built from dreams and love. They married 6 months later in a small ceremony at the neighborhood church where Maya's mother used to pray. The reception was at Maria's table, with Maya and her staff cooking all the food. At one point, James pulled Maya aside. "Are you happy?" "More than I ever thought possible," Maya said. "You?" "Yes, not because you replaced Sarah. Nobody could, but because you taught me it's okay to love again, to live again. My mother taught me the same through her cooking, that love doesn't die, it just changes form." 5 years passed. Maria's Table became beloved, not the fanciest or most expensive, but the one with the most heart. Maya opened 2 more locations. She wrote a cookbook. She started a program to train young chefs from the neighborhood. James cut back his work hours. He came home for dinner every night. Started taking real vacations. Started living instead of just working. They had 2 children, a daughter named Maria, a son named David. They raised them to understand hard work and kindness, to respect people regardless of income or status. Maya still cooked every day at the original location. She needed to stay connected to the food, the customers, the feeling that started it all. Sometimes late at night, alone in the kitchen, Maya would pull out her mother's old recipe book. She'd run her fingers over the stained pages and close her eyes, remembering her mother's voice. "Slow, baby girl, with love, always with love." She'd smile because she understood now. Her mother's greatest gift wasn't the recipes. It was the lesson that food could be comfort, memory, love, connection, home. James understood that lesson too. Sitting at his own table with his wife and children, eating a simple meal cooked with care, he finally knew what home meant. It wasn't a place. It was people who loved you. Food that nourished your soul. Ordinary moments made precious by shared presence. Home was the taste of yesterday, the comfort of today, and the promise of tomorrow. For 2 people who'd lost everything and found each other in the most unexpected way, that was everything.